Hi, ladies and gentlemen, fellow traders. Welcome to another episode of Weekly Forex Outlook with Chart Engineering Pro. We really appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video, and we do not take you for granted at all. If you haven't yet subscribed or you are new to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any content we post here. And if you also find value with what we share here, be sure to like, drop your comments, share your views, and share this video to your fellow traders or anyone who would find this information useful. We'll also drop a link to the free Telegram group in the description of this video where we share updates of these setups as the week unfolds. We'll also look at the recap of the previous week at the end of this video. So let's jump into what we have for this week. Let's have a look at the economic calendar for the coming week. So on Monday, we have a bank holiday for CAD. On Tuesday, we're going to have the GBP claimant count change, which is a very high impact news. And that's in the morning, and later in the afternoon we're also going to have CAD CPI. We'll also have the GBPCAD on Wednesday and an FOMC meeting minutes on Wednesday. So on Thursday we're going to have the AUD employment change and unemployment rate, which is more like the NFP for AUD, and on the same day we're going to have the flash manufacturing PMIs for GBP. So there's no high impact news on Friday. Let's look at what we have for the coming week. This is DXY. So for DXY, we have this huge pattern forming. Okay, so we have this possible harmonic pattern developing. This is the X, this is the A, this is the B, the C, and we're looking forward to a possible D leg, which should be heading all the way up here. But then, as we can see, all this consolidations around this area, price is actually reacting from a very strong support area, which is like, I think it's on a 6 month or a 3 months area of interest. So it's a very strong zone. So this movement you are seeing here, if you look closely, it's more like an inverse head and shoulder that is developing, but it's not very clean. So I would like to trace it for us to see what is possibly happening here. So this is going to be the left shoulder, this is the head, and the right shoulder is what we see developing now. So if you trace this, you can realize this is a clean possible inverse head and shoulder that is developing here. So right now the right shoulder is actually pushing. So what we are supposed to be looking out for is buys for now. And then if you drop down to, this is the daily time frame, and we currently have price shifting the daily structure, and it has also shifted a weekly structure point here. So all we're going to look out for in the coming week is a possible pullback into the the two areas of interest. Any of the two, should price pull back into this very first area of interest, look for buying opportunities to the upside, and should it pull back to the second area of interest again, we'll look forward to possible buying opportunities to the upside. And if this plays out, it's going to form a possible harmonic pattern 2 here, which is a possible bat or a crab pattern. So this is the harmonic pattern that is possibly going to form. This is the X, this is the A, this is the B, the C leg, and we are looking forward to the D leg. So if we are going to see price or DXY pump higher, then we are likely going to hit these targets we have here, the crab pattern potential reversal. So what we are going to wait for is a possible pullback to any of these two areas of interest, and we'll take our buys from there. This can only be considered bearish now if price breaks this zone or clear these structures over here and counts for a pullback and goes to the downside. So we are very bullish for DXY for the coming week. This is the Japanese yen index. Initially I thought it was very bearish, but as we can see, price is likely going to move a bit higher or try to approach this area of interest we have above here. So what we are looking out for the coming week is we are looking forward to a possible pullback on the 4-hour time frame. We have a 4-hour structure shift here, and we are looking forward to price to retest this structure point or pull back and give us a higher low formation and look for buying opportunities to the upside. So going into next week, we are looking forward to a possible pullback like this, and then take our buys from there. Or should price retest the 4-hour structure we have here, we'll still be interested in taking the buys from there, which means the XXX JPY pairs, we are going to see more sales on those pairs than buys for the coming week. This is Euro USD. So for Euro USD, just as we saw on DXY is looking more bullish, so we are it to be necessary for us to look out for selling opportunities on Euro USD than buying opportunities for now. So going into next week, we're just going to look forward to a possible pullback into this area of interest, this first area of interest, and we look for selling opportunities from here to the downside. Should price pull back to the second zone above, we'll still be interested in taking the sales from there to the downside. So these are the various targets we have for Euro USD for the weeks ahead or the week ahead of us. Should price break above this structure point, should price come all the way and break above this daily structure point, then we know we are resuming the bullish move that was actually happening previously. Until then, we are going to be very bearish on Euro USD for the coming week. So we just wait for a possible pullback to retest these areas of interest and we take ourselves from there to the downside. So this is GBPUSD. We actually caught this trade last week, and for GBPUSD, we caught this position. Here. So going into next week, we are very bearish now. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for is a possible pullback into this area of interest. We are currently holding on to this position. All we are looking forward to is a possible pullback into this area of interest. We look for selling opportunities and we continue the sales to the downside. Since we have a very strong DXY playing to likely play out, then we're going to be looking out for sales on GBPUSD than buys. So we are very bearish on GBPUSD. Unless price comes or finds its way all the way to break above these structures over here, then we know we are bullish. Until then, we are very bearish on GBPUSD for the coming week. This is USDCHF, and for USDCHF, there's a very huge harmonic pattern playing out. So we had this deep crab pattern which has developed, and after the pattern develops, we are supposed to see a buying move from here to this very first TP and this second TP above here. And as we can see, price is likely forming a right shoulder. So it's very messy. It's not very clean, but it's likely forming a right shoulder. So this is more like the left shoulder. This is the head, and this is possibly the right shoulder. And we are yet to see the bullish move upwards to the various TPs we have above here. So going into next week, we are just going to look forward to a possible pullback into this area of interest. And as we can see, price is also forming another harmonic pattern on a smaller time frame. So we'll drop down to that time frame and look at it. So going into next week, we want to see a possible pullback into this very first area of interest. Look for buying opportunities to the upside. Should price pull back to the second zone below, we'll still be interested in taking the buys from there. If price finds its way to break this zone and clear these daily structures, then we know we have shifted bearish. But until then, we are going to look at the bullish side of things for USDCHF. So this is the harmonic pattern that is developing. This is the X, this is the A, this is the B leg, this is the C leg, and we are looking forward to a D leg all the way up. So we just have to be patient and see how price plays out for the coming week. We just have to see this pullback into the area of interest. We look for buying opportunities from here. We take our buys to the upside. And these targets are above our ultimate targets. So we're just going to consider these immediate targets first. And as price develops, we look forward to more buying opportunities to reach the targets we have above for USDCHF. This is USDCAD. We had this setup from last week and we're waiting for it to see. We're looking forward to see a daily structure shift here. We have the shift and we're yet to see the pullback to take our buys to the upside. So we just have to wait to see how price plays out. Price may not pull back exactly back into the zone. It might just pull back to retest any of these daily structures. It might just pull back to retest either this daily structure or this second daily structure. And we see buying opportunities from there to the upside. So we are also very bullish on USDCAD for the coming week. This is NZDUSD, and NZDUSD on the weekly and the daily perspective, it has shifted bearish. So going into next week, all we are looking out for is a possible pullback into this area of interest, this first area of interest, look for selling opportunities to the downside. Should price pull back to the second zone above, we will still be interested in taking the sales from there to the downside. Should price find its way to buy and break above this daily structure we have here, then we know we are heading bullish. Until then, we are very bearish on NZDUSD for the coming week. This is USDJPY, and USDJPY is also forming a potential harmonic pattern, which is potential butterfly pattern. Yes, it's a potential butterfly pattern, and the potential reversal zone is around here. So we're looking forward to more buys to the upside to complete this harmonic pattern. If we so last week we were looking forward to see a daily structure shift here. We have the daily structure shift now. All we are expecting next is to see price retest this daily structure or pull back to give us a higher low formation. We will look for buying opportunities to the upside. So this will be our TP1 right here, and this will be our TP2. So we are going to look out for buying opportunities on USDJPY. But if price finds its way to break this zone below and continue downwards, then we know we are bearish. But until then, we are very bullish on USDJPY, considering the strength. Even though we are looking at for strength in USD and then the JPY, one of them might overpower the other, or we might see a lot of consolidations because both currencies are strong. So let's be on the lookout and see how it plays out. This is EURJPY. So for EURJPY, and since we have price, as we saw on the JPY index, we are likely going to head bearish for EURJPY. So going into next week, we are looking forward to a possible reversal pattern. Should we get a double top formation here, or yes, this is the very first scenario. Should we get a double top formation, we look for a retest of the neckline, and we take the sales to the downside. Or what we can do, the second scenario is if we get if we get a daily candle to close below these structure points here, the daily candle closes below, look for it a lower high formation, we take our sales to the downside. So these are the two possible scenarios we have for EURJPY. So we are very bearish on EURJPY for the coming week. This can only shift bullish or continue bullish if we get price to break above this zone, and then we continue to the upside. So then we are now very bearish on EURJPY for the coming week. And these are our various targets we have below. These are the targets we'll be looking out for the coming week or the weeks ahead of us. This is GBPJPY, and for GBPJPY, we're also looking out for this potential sell on GBPJPY. So going into next week, we are just going to look forward to these. Should price pull back to this very first area of interest here, we take ourselves from here to the downside. Should price pull back to the second area of interest above, we'll still be interested in taking the sales from there. Should it pull back all the way to retest the third one above, we'll still be interested in taking the sales from here. Until price breaks above the structure point, we are now bearish. Until price breaks above the structure point, we are bearish on GBPJPY. So these are the various targets we have below for GBPJPY on the sell side. This is CADJPY, and for CADJPY we also have price reacting at an area of interest. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for is, firstly, should we get a 4-hour structure shift? We have this. Should we get a 4-hour structure shift right here, a 4-hour structure shift here, we get a lower high formation or possible right shoulder, we take ourselves from there to the downside, targeting the two targets we have below right here. Should price still find its way all the way up to this area of interest here, and we get a selling opportunity here, we can still take ourselves from here to the downside for CADJPY. So we are very bearish for CADJPY, or on CADJPY. This is EURGBP. So EURGBP initially gave us some false moves that made us see this as a potential head and shoulder formation. But looking at the price action, we are actually developing a cipher or shark pattern or harmonic pattern on EURGBP, and EURGBP is now very bullish. So going into next week, I mean, this is the harmonic pattern that is developing. This is the X, this is the A, this is the B leg, this is the C leg, and we are looking forward to a D leg. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for is a possible pullback into this area of interest. The first one Should price pull back, we'll take our buys from here to the upside. Should it pull back to the second zone below, we'll still be interested in taking the buys to the upside. But then if price finds its way to clear these lows or break these structures below and clears these lows and comes this way, then we know we are heading bearish for EURGBP. But until then, we are very bullish on EURGBP for the coming week. This is GBPCAD, and GBPCAD has also shifted bearish on the weekly perspective and the daily perspective. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for is a possible pullback into this area of interest. The very first one, take ourselves from there to the downside, or should price pull back a bit higher to the second zone, we'll still be interested in taking ourselves from there. This can only be this can only be considered bullish if price is able to break above these daily structures we have here. That we are bullish on a daily perspective on GBPCAD, and if this plays out, it's actually going to give us a potential harmonic pattern, and this is the harmonic pattern that's identified or that's likely to play out. So this is the X, this is the A leg, this is the B leg, this is the C. We are heading for it. We're heading for the D leg. So we are very bearish on CAD, on GBPCAD. So we just have to wait for the pullback, look for selling opportunities, and we take it to the downside. So these are the various targets we have: 1, 2, and 3. This is GBPNZD. So GBPNZD, last week we were looking forward to a pullback into this area of interest to give us selling opportunity to the downside. Sorry, price tipped it a little bit and then just kept going down due to the weakness in GBP we saw in the week. But price is now approaching the area of interest once again. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for is to see a possible reaction in this area of interest. Should price pull back here and we see a nice selling confirmation from here, we'll take ourselves. Sorry. If we get a selling confirmation here, we'll take ourselves from here to the downside, the various targets we have below. So these are the targets we have below for GBPNZD. Should price find its way to break above these sides, then we are heading bullish on GBPNZD. Until then, we are bearish. This is NZDCHF. We had this set up some weeks, or I think a month ago, and I think we took an L. We identified this head and shoulder pattern, and then we took an L, I think around, see that here or here, we took an L around here because we entered way too early on the right shoulder. And if you switch the weekly time frame, that's when you see the head and shoulder properly. It's not too clean, it's very wiki on NZDUSD, or most of the CHF pairs have a lot of wicks, but this is the head and shoulder pattern that is developing. So this is the left shoulder, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder that is done forming, and it's now going to sell all the way down to the downside. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for, put this aside, is a possible pullback into any of these two areas of interest. We look for selling opportunities from here to the downside. Should price pull back to the second zone above, we'll still be interested in taking the sells from there. But what we can do is you can look for these selling opportunities and you take your profit at the neckline of this head and shoulder formation. Then we wait for another entry. So this is the second scenario or the third scenario. Should price find its way to hit this neckline and break it with a daily candle, we'll wait for a possible pullback into the area of interest or the neckline area, and we'll take ourselves to the downside, targeting the lows we have here to complete the head and shoulder formation we have on NZDCHF. This is gold. So we made a very big mistake, I'll say. We saw this opportunity on gold, and took the opportunity, we took the sell, but I would say I exited this trade out of fear. Even though it was with a calculated risk, I exited this position out of fear because I think when I woke up at dawn during the Asian session and I noticed how price was behaving, I don't know what I was thinking, but then I just said, no, this price action does not look good for a sell, and I just exited at the entry, only for price to just tank all the way down. So I would say we exited this position way too early, and we missed out on this whole move to the downside. So going into next week, what we'll be doing is we're going to look out for more selling opportunities because our target is very long. Is this low. We are targeting this low as our ultimate target. So going into next week, we are just going to look out for a possible pullback to this area of interest. We look for ourselves to the downside. Should it also pull back all the way a bit higher to the second zone above, we will still be interested in taking the sales from there to the downside. So we are very bearish on gold for now. This is silver. So we had a buy position, which I will address in the recap at the end of this video. We had a buy that we took around here, and then it actually hit our first TP, and then price started reversing before. So around, I think just before CPI last week, we took some partials before price even hit its ultimate target, and then price started reversing later in the week. So going into next week, just as we saw on gold, we are very bearish on gold. So what we are going to look out for is a possible lower high formation. Then we look for selling opportunities here, or we wait for price to break this daily structure we have here. We look for another retest, and we look for selling opportunities to the downside. So we are very bearish on silver for the coming week. We just have to be patient and have those pullbacks, which will give us the opportunities to take ourselves from them. So we are very bearish on silver for the coming week. This is German 30, and German 30 is on the weekly perspective and the daily perspective, it is bearish. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for is price has even already shifted, but then I'll prefer that we get a daily candle closure a bit to clear this low instead, and then we'll look forward to a possible pullback or a lower high formation and take ourselves from there to the downside. This is the first scenario. Or the second scenario is if price is able to just give us a lower high formation right here, we can look for selling opportunities from here to the downside. It might not be this shallow, it might even pull back all the way back into the area of interest to give us a possible right shoulder or lower high formation. So we just have to be patient to see how price develops, and we take action from there. So these are various targets we have for Euro, for German 30 for the coming week. We have here STOXX 50. It's an index which is very similar to German 30. It has a very similar movement as German 30. So it's also very bearish on a weekly and a daily perspective. So going into next week, what we're looking for is a daily structure shift. If we get a daily candle breaking below this area of interest, we look for a selling opportunity after it pulls back here, and we take ourselves to the downside on this index. It's STOXX 50. So let's be on the lookout for this trade. This can only shift bullish if price finds its way above these highs and continues to the upside. So then we are very bearish on STOXX 50 for the coming week. So these are the various targets we have below for this index. We have here the UK 100 or the Ftse 100. It's also very bearish now, and what we're waiting for is a daily candle break below this neckline. So as you can see, this is a head and shoulder formation. You can see here, this is the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. So we are looking forward to a possible break and a retest of this area of interest, and look for selling opportunities to the downside. Should price pull back to the second zone above, we'll still be interested in taking the sales from here to the downside. And if you look at it, it's actually forming a harmonic pattern, and this is the pattern that is developing. So this is the X. I think STOXX was also forming a harmonic pattern. I'll go back to that. So this is the X, this is the A, this is the B, this is the C leg. You are looking for a possible D leg all the way down to the downside. And let me just go back to the STOXX 50. And so for the STOXX 50, this is the harmonic pattern that is also developing right here. This is the X, this is the X, this is the A, this is the B leg, this is the C leg. We are looking forward to a D leg all the way down for this index. And we have here BTC. So BTC, we had this setup from last week, and we're looking forward to sell from this area. So we took this sell position I think on Friday. On Friday, we took the sell position on Friday. And so if you miss this entry, what you can look out for is, should price pull back again to retest. This is a head and shoulder formation we can see right here. So should price pull back to retest the neckline of this head and shoulder we have here, you can still take yourself from here to the downside. the second scenario is this might actually form an entire head for us. So this is the other possibility. So this could be a left shoulder, and we are waiting for this head to form, which is a structural shift or a daily candle closure below this structure points we have here. We get a head, we get a possible pullback, which will give us a right shoulder, and we take the sells to the downside. So we are likely going to see something like this. Price might also give us a daily candle closure below this daily structure point. We go for a lower high formation or a right shoulder formation, and we take the sells to the downside. So these are the targets we have for BTC on the downside. We are targeting the 58k to 46k area, and the worst case scenario will be the 35k. So we are going to see some more bearishness on most of the cryptos for the coming weeks. This is Ethereum. So Ethereum, we saw this setup from last week, which we were looking for to see a daily structural shift either here or here, and now we have both shifts in place. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for is a possible retest of this structure point or this structure point we have here. And we'll take our sales from here to the downside, to the various targets we have below. So we are also very bearish on Ethereum now. So these are the two targets we have for Ethereum for the coming weeks. So let's see what's happened the previous week. This is GBPCHF. This is the recap. This is GBPCHF. We took this position around episode 44, and we are almost at our first TP. So initially, what we were looking out for on this pair was a weekly structural shift to where that's why we have this arrow here. We're looking for it to see price to shift this weekly structure here, give us a pullback or a neckline retest, and we look for selling opportunities to the downside. Now, looking at the momentum that price came with, we might not see price pull back all the way to this structure point. So what we are looking out for is a possible pullback into this first area of interest. Sorry, put this to the side. If we get a pullback to this area of interest, we can look for selling opportunities here to the downside to the second targets we have below. Or should price still pull back to retest that weekly structure point, we can still look for ourselves from this weekly structure point we have here to the downside to the second targets we have below. So there's more room to the downside for GBPCHF. So let's look out for more selling opportunities to the downside. So this is our silver position, which we took from here, and price. So before CPI, we took partials here because the CPI was looking more bearish or more bullish for the dollar. So we took some partials here, and then price hit our TP1 and then reversed entirely. So this is our position on silver that we had earlier on. So we are currently also in this position EURCHF. We are waiting for this pullback. We are expecting price to pull back to this, either this first area of interest or this second area of interest, to give us selling opportunity, or either price, or should price also retest this daily structure point we have here. Price has retested the structure point. It gave us a nice 4-hour structural shift, and we took our entry here. So we are holding on to this position to the downside. These are the various targets we have for EURCHF. So we can be looking out for more selling opportunities to the downside. Notwithstanding, this move can also fail, and still price can find its way to pull back into these areas of interest that we have been waiting for a very long time, and still give us the selling opportunities from here to the downside. So we are just going to be patient to see how price develops. So I think we have USD. So from the previous week, we are holding on to this buy position on EURUSD. Before CPI, we exited this trade around here before CPI. So we exited this trade in partial profits before CPI. So we closed around this side on USD. And this is GBPUSD. We also closed this position before CPI right here. So closing some small profits here on GBPUSD. So this is NZDUSD. We were holding on to, we had this buy, I think, from the previous week, and then before CPI, we closed around here before it hit our SL. So it was still a loss. It was still a loss. So we exited this trade around here on NZDUSD last week. And GBPJPY, so we took this loss. We had this entry around here. Price didn't move much, and then we got taken out on this position. So this was a loss for us on GBPJPY. And for this, something strange happened. I don't know whether it is surprising latency in the market or something like that. We took this position around here, and then I think when price opened during the Asian session, we saw this huge gap. But then if you look at the brokers that you are trading from or your trading platforms, the charts doesn't look the same. The charts was looking different from what we have here on this broker, this TVC broker. So and there has been instances where price has actually given a gap. Mostly happens between US oil or WTI and Brent crude. One of them can just gap, and then the other one will be lagging behind. And for all you know is later maybe in the London session, the other one that has not gapped will gap in the same direction as the first one did during an Asian session. So I thought that was likely going to happen. So even though we are already in a position here, we still took another position just to take advantage of this price latency. Because on the brokers, on the trading platform, this gap had not happened yet. So we took another position here. But then this price action still kept showing that we are in profit. But then if you look on your brokerage account or your trading account, you realize that you are in a loss. So just when we hit our stop loss on the trading platform, this price was around here, which looked like it was in profit, but it was a loss. So this was also a loss on US oil last week. And AUDJPY, this is AUDJPY, where we took this position last week, and I think last 2 weeks rather, and then we were holding on to it, expecting that JPY was going to weaken more for us to hit our ultimate target. We didn't get anywhere close to our first target, and we actually closed out at this area. So it was a partial profit we took on AUDJPY. I think the last one was NZDJPY, so for NZDJPY, we exited around here, which was still a loss. So we lost on this position as well. So thank you so much for sticking through to the end of this video. Really appreciate you for your time. Thank you for subscribing and for liking our videos and sharing our videos. And I'd like to encourage all of us to apply proper risk management to our trades, trade safe and sound. And I wish all of us a profitable week ahead of us. And I'll catch all of us on another episode. So take good care of yourself and have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.